What? What? You not comfy? Hey, can I have kisses? Hi, this is Michael Jones, Chairman and CEO of Caravel Concepts. Welcome to Market Insights, our weekly commentary on the economy and market events. Let's get started. So, we took a week off for spring break, and that means it's been 2 weeks since you've seen Coda, and so of course, he's gained another 5 pounds. He's up to 30 pounds and he's on track for 100. Right, buddy? I've had enough of that. I'm not your show pony. Several weeks ago, we did a video recommending that Americans take whatever vaccine is offered to them because after adjusting for sample bias and other boring math stuff, the Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson vaccines were all about equally effective, and they were all extraordinarily impactful in protecting you from serious illness from COVID and death. 100% effective from protecting you from death. This week, however, it was disclosed that 6 people developed blood clots after receiving the J&J, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. In light of this new information, we feel compelled to update our analysis. We have done so, and we continue to recommend that if the FDA removes the current hold on J&J vaccinations, and if they look at the data and approve the J&J vaccine to go back on the market, then we say take whatever vaccine is offered to you. Now, in making that statement, I want to make very clear, not a medical doctor, not a research scientist, but I do know something about math and probability. And if the doctors and the research scientists at the FDA say that the vaccine is safe, then the math that I'm seeing 100% supports that conclusion. Now, how can we make that statement after 6 people have developed a blood clot? Well, first we need to recognize that absolutely no medical treatment is completely risk-free. Even Band-Aids have produced allergic reactions to the adhesives, not to mention how painful they can be to tear off. But seriously, penicillin, one of the most world-changing, life-giving medications ever developed, 1 person in 100 develops a very serious, life-threatening allergic reaction to penicillin. But the FDA, the medical professions, they decided they could not think about denying the 99 other people who don't have an allergic reaction the life-giving qualities of penicillin because of the 1% for whom it is indeed a risky medication. All right, now contrast that with the 6 people who have developed blood clots after the J&J vaccine. That is 6 people out of 7 million vaccinations. That's about a 1 in a million chance of having a blood clot if it is indeed proved that that J&J was the cause of these blood clots. 1 in a million. To put that in context, that's about the same probability as having a serious life-threatening allergic reaction to the polio vaccine. And so doctors moved forward with the polio vaccine because 1 in a million is such a lower risk of something going wrong than the risk of polio. And similarly, you can and probably will make a similar assessment about the J&J vaccine. Now, you may say, why wasn't this caught in the trials? Well, they did accelerated trials for all these vaccines, but they were large scale. They tested the normal amount of patients that you would test. It was about 44,000, 45,000 people who were tested with the J&J vaccine. In a test of 44,000 people, you're not going to necessarily find a side effect that only occurs 1 time out of 1 million. They tested to be sure that side effects were far less likely than the likelihood of being infected by and getting a serious case of COVID-19. 44,000 was more than enough to prove that, and so that's why they went ahead and they approved the vaccine. Now, to put in context the notion of 1 in a million and why it was the right decision to approve a vaccine with that level of blood clot risk, recognize that if everyone in America got the J&J vaccine, we would now be estimating about 330 people would develop a blood clot. That compares to 560,000 people who have died from COVID-19. Do you see why the FDA felt like they had done enough testing? And importantly, the blood clots that have formed are actually easy to treat. Now you may say, no, wait a minute, 6 people got it and 1 person died. Why did that 1 person die if it's so easy to treat? Well, now here is where the new information that's coming out and the new medical protocols make it much, much, much safer than it was before we had this information this week. Because it turns out that the type of blood clot that the J&J, if the J&J vaccine is proven to be the cause of this blood clot, the type of blood clot that has been developed doesn't respond well to the standard blood thinners that are provided when you see a blood clot. You have to use a different blood thinner. It's very possible that the reason why that 1 person died is because her doctor prescribed the standard blood clot medication and the blood clot didn't respond to it. Actually can get worse if you use the standard blood thinner medication. Now that they know that it is this rare type of blood clot that occurs when potentially after the J&J vaccine, then they'll use the different types of blood thinners that are effective on those types of blood clots. And there may be absolutely no more fatalities seen. So, just to summarize, ultimately this is an FDA decision. They have the doctors, they have the scientists, they're the ones who are going to make the call on this. But just looking at the math, the J&J vaccine is as safe as a lot of the other vaccines that are utilized throughout the marketplace. And I believe that now that they've identified the unique type of blood clot that could be caused by the J&J vaccine, it's going to be fairly easy to treat future cases. And so, if the FDA decides to put this back on the market, I can't see any reason why people would hesitate to be one and done. We're on track in the United States to get at least 75% vaccinated by the end of the summer, even if they don't reapprove the J&J. If they don't reapprove the J&J, things will be a little bit slower, but probably not sufficiently to slow the booming economy and the booming stock market. If, and I think they probably will, they recertify the J&J vaccine, then all the good stuff happens a little bit quicker and a little bit more efficiently in terms of the operations of vaccinations. Thanks for joining us for Market Insights. We hope you found it informative. If you did, we'd hope you'd like the video and share it with your friends. If you'd like more of our research, you can find it at our website, caravelconcepts.com, or you can subscribe at the link below. Thanks. Any kisses? No kisses? Just too sleepy for kisses?